New York Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted by a federal grand jury.
There is this indictment. It is sealed. We don't know what the charges are, but this is a federal corruption investigation.
Continues the resignations of Mayor Eric Adams' close circle, who are under investigation.
All right, so let's jump right in. Crazy story about some really shady stuff.
Yeah.
Accusations. It's about the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams.
Who said he wanted to make New York City the Bitcoin capital of the world.
Exactly. And now here we are trying to figure out what's going on with this indictment on corruption charges. It's wild. We're going to break it all down. So we've got Decrypt, which has got the latest on the indictment itself. And then someone put together this collection of articles, reactions, all about it, called govinair.txt.
Right.
You know I love a good primary source deep dive.
Oh, yeah. This is juicy stuff for sure. They paint quite a picture, don't they?
They really do. So, for anyone who doesn't follow every twist and turn of NYC politics like we do, Eric Adams, he was an NYPD captain, right?
Yeah.
He kind of rode into office with this whole reformer image, fighting for the average New Yorker. He really pushed that he was a tech-savvy leader.
Right. I remember.
Even promising to take his first 3 paychecks in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Which logistically had to be a nightmare for someone, right? I mean,
totally.
How often does a government payroll system have to deal with cryptocurrency?
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, was it really about the tech or was it all just,
PR.
Exactly, a PR stunt?
Was there a deeper strategy at play here?
That's a good question. And it makes you think about Adams in general. He really wanted to make New York City into a global center for all things crypto. Like that was his thing. He thought it was the future of finance and wasn't afraid to say so, even back then.
Which was pretty bold.
Very bold.
Especially back then when most politicians were either completely ignoring crypto or trying to, regulate it out of existence.
Right, exactly.
But now, this whole crypto champion thing is clashing with these really serious accusations.
Yeah, serious is an understatement. This is the first time ever that a sitting NYC mayor is facing federal charges. This isn't just big, it's practically unheard of.
Wow. Okay, so let's get into the charges themselves. What's at the heart of it all?
So the actual indictment is still sealed, which, just adds to the whole mystery.
Oh, for sure.
But from what Decrypt is saying, it sounds like this investigation has been going on since 2021. The main issue seems to be about Adams's mayoral campaign and whether he got some illegal donations from the Turkish government. And we're talking about potential quid pro quo, straight up contributions for political favors.
Okay, hold on. What kind of favors? Give me the details.
Well, supposedly there was pressure on city officials to approve a new Turkish consulate. And supposedly they might have overlooked some safety concerns.
Really?
Yeah. Think about how much influence you could have with a project that big.
Wow. So we've got Adams. He's all about tech in the future, potentially caught up in this old school game of power and favors. It's kind of crazy.
It really is. And if that wasn't enough, govinair.txt throws even more fuel on the fire. They're talking about FBI raids on properties connected to this whole thing, phones being seized, people resigning. It's literally a political thriller.
This isn't just a parking ticket, right? This is serious stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And what makes it even more complicated is how Adams is responding. He's saying he's innocent, that this whole thing is a political attack.
So which is it? A political hit job, or is justice actually being served here? I mean, we've got a lot to unpack as we dig into the motivations and what could happen because of all this.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the crypto world, Does this whole indictment thing, even if he's found innocent, does it hurt crypto itself?
Right, because Adams was all in on crypto.
Yeah, totally. And it wasn't just about getting paid in Bitcoin, remember? He was talking about using blockchain in schools, the whole 9 yards. He wanted New York City to be the center of the digital revolution.
And let's be real, crypto already has an image problem for some people, right? It still seems like the Wild West out there with all the scams and shady stuff you hear about.
Exactly. And that's what this case plays into, unfortunately. I mean, the guy who was crypto is the future is now caught up in this mess with secret deals and foreign money. It just feeds into all those fears people have about crypto.
It's like a PR nightmare, honestly. Do you think this will scare away other politicians who might have been thinking about supporting crypto?
I think it could, yeah. Politicians are all about image, right? They don't want to be associated with anything that seems risky or controversial. This whole thing could make them think twice before even mentioning crypto.
So it could actually slow down progress on sensible regulation.
Exactly. If policymakers are too scared to even talk about crypto, how are they going to create rules that actually make sense and help it grow?
That's a good point. But, I mean, it might not be all bad, right? There could be some good that comes out of this, too.
Oh, absolutely. For some people in the crypto community, this could make them even more determined. They might see Adams as a victim, targeted because he challenged the system.
So instead of scaring people away, it makes them double down.
Right. It feeds into that whole us versus them mentality. They see one of their own being attacked and they close ranks.
Wow, it's really a double-edged sword then. Okay, but let's talk about the timing of all this. Governor.txt points out that right before the indictment was announced, Adams was publicly criticizing the Biden administration about the migrant crisis, which has been a huge problem for New York City.
Yeah, and not just a political problem, a real problem.
Totally.
You got all these people coming in, city resources are stretched thin, and Adams has been saying for months that they need more help from the federal government.
And then boom, this indictment drops. It's kind of hard not to be suspicious about the timing.
It's definitely interesting timing, and it gets even weirder. Governor.txt mentions that the prosecutors specifically asked for communication between Adams' administration and a bunch of different countries: Turkey, Israel, China, Qatar, South Korea, Uzbekistan.
What? That's quite the mix. Why those countries specifically?
Honestly, who knows? But it does seem like they're trying to find some kind of pattern, like maybe Adams was making shady deals with foreign governments.
Like they're trying to build a case, create a narrative.
Right, so that when they present it, it doesn't look like one isolated incident. It looks like a pattern of corruption.
And let's not forget, Adams comes from a law enforcement background. It's a very black and white world, right? Right and wrong, good guys, bad guys.
Yeah, and then he gets into politics, where it's all shades of gray. It's all about compromise, backroom deals, shifting alliances. It's a whole different game.
Makes you wonder if he was really ready for that world, especially with something as complex as crypto thrown into the mix.
It's a fascinating thing to think about, for sure.
It's like he went from chasing the bad guys to being in this world where you don't know who to trust, right?
Yeah.
And the rules aren't so clear anymore.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so interesting. It's about ambition, technology, and, power. I can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Because this could go a lot of different ways. Like, what if he's found guilty? It could be the end of his career, and it could even affect how people see crypto, not just in New York, but everywhere, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This case could be exactly what some people need to say. See? We need to crack down on crypto. They'll say it proves that crypto is just for criminals. And they'll push for all these stricter rules like know your customer and all that, which could really hurt those decentralized exchanges.
You say know your customer, but for people who aren't as familiar with all that, what does it actually mean? What kind of impact are we talking about?
So know your customer and anti-money laundering. They're usually called KYC and AML. Basically, they're supposed to stop financial crimes like money laundering and funding terrorism. They force financial institutions, including crypto exchanges, to check who their customers are and see if any transactions look suspicious. And those regulations are important, but if they get too strict, it makes it harder for crypto to grow, especially for platforms that care about privacy.
So it's a tough balance, for sure. But let's say Adams is found innocent. Let's say he proves that this was all just, a way to get him out of the picture.
That's the flip side, right? He could come out of this even stronger, like a hero who stood up to the system.
It's like something out of Shakespeare, but with tech and politics.
Right. And we're all just trying to figure out who's playing who. But this is bigger than just Eric Adams, This could affect any politician who's even thought about touching crypto.
Yeah, I mean, if a mayor who is openly pro-crypto gets investigated by the feds, other politicians are going to be pretty nervous, right?
Totally. Politicians don't like to take risks, so this whole situation could make them afraid to even say the word crypto, let alone actually support it.
So we could end up stuck, This could stop innovation, make everyone afraid of a technology that could be really important in the future. It's a lot to think about.
It really is. And that's why it matters for everyone to pay attention to how this plays out, not just people who are into crypto. Because it comes down to this. Technology is always changing things, so how do we balance that with regulations and politics? It's a big question.
So for everyone listening, this isn't just a story about a mayor or even about crypto, really. It's about the future and what we want it to look like. So pay attention, ask questions, and be involved. What we do now will shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The future is happening right now, whether we're ready or not.